Yes, good evening, everyone. So I can see you're about to train. Uh, as someone to confirm that I'm clear enough. Good. Any question as we wait for others to join? You can just raise up your hand uh, if you have any question. Any question? So how was the assignment? Kasola? Kasola is saying that the assignment was not that bad. Amos? Amos, can you hear me?
Hello, yeah, I can get you.
Okay.
I was not able to do the assignment. Had a few issues.
I can't hear you.
Hello,
Yes, yes.
you can't hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Oh, I'm saying I was not able to do the assignment this time.
Oh, okay.
I had a few issues with my machine, so I'll see
Oh,
how
okay.
to work it out later.
Okay, okay. Oh, Stella, I've seen that most of you haven't submitted the assignment.
Yes.
So how was the assignment this time?
Well, it wasn't easy, but it was
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So any question as we wait for others to join uh, about any lecture that uh, we have been having. I think silence means that we are good to go. So yeah,
Question.
yeah. Okay, Muchiti, go on.
How are you guys?
Yes, you fine.
Um, the last class I didn't manage to attend, so you can put me in floating data types. Floating data type.
Our data types.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
in that regard, I'm floating in that data type.
Or data types.
I,
Okay.
so what is the difference between
So,
NumPy,
NumPy.
and pandas?
Oh, okay. That
What
is
is the main difference?
uh, that is a good question. I think we will handle that. Any other question? I'm waiting for Any other question? Any other person with a question? As we wait for others to join. Any other question? I think I can just answer Mochiti. So Mochiti, the slight difference between pandas and NumPy is mostly pandas is used for data manipulation purposes. And I think we clearly saw that. But for NumPy is mostly deals with creating of arrays and matrices. So that is the difference. So NumPy deals with creating of arrays and matrices, while pandas is a library for data manipulation and data wrangling. I think we will cover what is data wrangling in our coming lectures. So any other question? I want to share my screen. Are you guys able to see my screen? Good. So today we are just going to continue with NumPy, and I will also introduce Matplotlib. It's a library for data visualization. I think I had mentioned that. So today we are going to learn. We are going to start with NumPy joining of arrays. I think from the last lecture we learned how to create some arrays using NumPy. Also, you are able to check on different types of arrays: the the one-dimension array, two-dimension array, and also you are able to check at three-dimensional arrays. So today I want us just to check how maybe you can join some arrays. And you're going to start with one-dimensional array. How we join one-dimensional arrays. So you can just jump into your Anaconda, or for those who are using VS Code, so that we can maybe create some programs here. Joining means putting content of two or more arrays in a single array, and we pass a sequence of arrays that we want to join or maybe concatenate. I think we had learned the concept of concatenation. Also, we have concatenation in arrays. So that is the function that we are going to use. I think by now everybody is familiar with the concatenate function. So along with the axis. So we say that if the axis is not explicitly passed, it is taken to be 0. We will I will soon demonstrate that. So let's just have a simple program to concatenate two arrays. Let me just copy this snippet. So we are still in NumPy. So the first step is to import NumPy as np. Then we initialize our first array with some values. For those who are not in the last class, this is how we do create arrays using NumPy. So you use the NumPy library. So we take np dot and then we use the dot operator. Then we have the array function, and then we pass a list, and then that one will be a NumPy object. So this is our first array, and we have our second array. So to join them, as I have just mentioned, is that we use the concatenate function. So we will just call the NumPy, and then we just we invoke the concatenate function, and then we pass the first and the second array. Then you can just do a simple print. I think you can just run these. Then you guys you can see the output. This is our output. I think everybody can see that. So any question up to that point? I think it's just that easy. You initialize two arrays, the ones that you want to concatenate. Then we assign the result to this array. I think we can just change this one to join underscore arrays. Then we'll have to change this. I think that makes more sense. So any question up to that point? Let me just choose any random person. So Lona Wanderi, are you able to concatenate two arrays?
Yes.
Good. Any person who is having an issue maybe with concatenating two arrays?
You have gone too fast.
Okay, I'll repeat that. Casey, are you able to concatenate?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Any other person with a question about that? But I can just go through it again. So someone said that I was very fast. So the first step is import. We just do the numpy import, and then we have to declare our first array object. This one, that is the array one. I think by now no one should be having an issue with these variables. So this is just a variable, and we are giving it a value of this array. So and then we have the second one. I think you can just see that this one is just a repetition of this, only that it has different values. And then we have now to join. I think I can. We can just use the concatenate to arrays. So again, we want to assign the value that we're going to get here to a certain variable, so that it will be easier for us to print out. So I think we did use the concatenate function, and what we are just doing here is we are calling this library of ours that is called numpy. It has a function that is called concatenate, and we are telling it, hey, hi, yeah, we need that function that is called concatenate. We need to do some array concatenation, and then we pass the arrays that we want to concatenate. This one can be an address list. If at all you have more than 2 arrays, you can add arrays, like concatenate arrays. So I think that we can also have the third array here, and maybe let's call it array 3, and then maybe we have a 7, 8, and we have 9 here, and then you can just pass that array 3 here, array 3, and then we just print out to see the output. You can add many arrays. You can concatenate as many arrays as you want. So I think that one should be clear by now. So any other person with a question regarding arrays concatenation using NumPy? So Muchiti, are you okay now?
Yes.
Good. Any other person with a question? I think array NumPy so far has been the easiest library to learn about, and also it's quite interesting. So let's go on to the other part of our discussion. And what we have here is I think you can just go to a 2D array. Let's see how to concatenate 2D arrays. And D means dimension. For those who are not remembering that, 2D just means 2-dimensional array. We can again have these. Let's just let's just have a copy paste of this code to save time. Let me just create another cell here. Just concat 2D arrays, and then we just have a paste here. Let's uncomment all these. So always our first step is importing the numpy as np or any other name that you want to put here. And then the second thing is now to initialize our or declare our array here. So this one is a two-dimensional array. And also we just declare our second array here, which is also a two-dimensional array. Yeah. So and then we just going to call that function again, and then we just pass the two arrays. It has no difference, only that we have now we must pass another parameter here that is the axis of 1, and then we can just run the program, and then you can see that we concatenated the first should I call it the first column here. The first column here is just concatenated, that is 1 2 5 6, and then our second part here, but maybe you can just call it column. We have it concatenated, like we have 3 4 and 7 8, so that we can simply have another two-dimensional array here of how many columns? I think 1 2 3 4. We have 4 columns. I think we can just read some explanation here. We are talking of joining array. We are going to, yeah, I think that is that. Before we get into the stack function, any person with a question up to that point before we get into stack function? We can join array also using the stack function. I think we should cover this, and then maybe any person with a question will ask. Stacking is same as concatenation. Those are just words that can be used interchangeably to mean they are just the same thing. The only difference is that stacking is done along a new axis. So we can concatenate two 1D arrays along the second axis, which would result in putting them one over the other. Let me just copy paste this code so that we can see what it means by let's just copy this. like putting them over the other. Let's see this. Good. Let's just, this is stacking. Let me just uncomment out this again. And let's run this. So I think you guys can see the difference. So we have like these array one, like the array one elements being like in the first column of our new concatenated array. So unlike in the unlike in our first concatenate function. So let's just, I think I should just copy this one here so that you can see the difference. Let me just copy this, this one here. Control copy. Concat function. Let's just use two arrays for simplicity, and maybe so that you can be able to note the difference. Let's have a print of joint arrays. Then we have the second one. So let's just run this, and then we can note the difference. So I think everybody can see the difference. What do you mean by, like, okay, for concatenate function, like we are just like it's like just a continuation of this. We are, by concatenation is like we mean for the first, it's like we are padding. I think you guys, we have worked with a pad, like it's just adding this array to the first array, just to have a continuation of one dimensional array. But when it comes to stack, it's a bit different, because now we are just like we have an axis of one, where now we put like the values for array one. They become like they will be the first, they will be values for the first column in our concatenated array. So I think that one can be simply seen here, where we have a 1, 2, 3 being in the first column of our new array. And that is the meaning of this explanation here, that the stacking same as concatenation, that the difference is stacking is done along a new axis. And that is that. If you have a question, you can just raise up your hand. so that maybe I can answer you, or maybe anyone will need a clarification. Any person with a question, you can just raise up your hand. I'll just there is a question from Casey Cyrus. Unmute your mic, Casey.
Yeah, so yenye tumefanya hapa ya concatenate kwani imeleta error.
Yours is bringing an error.
Yeah, not the last one we've done, the other one, the previous one.
The previous one.
Yeah.
This okay. Not the stacking, but the first.
Not the stack.
So the stack you are able to. Okay, let's.
Yeah.
Do you mean the first example or the second example for two-dimensional array?
Okay, you see before the stack. Yes.
Let's see what you don't have.
Okay.
Yes. I think it was this one. Two-dimensional array. Concat. When I had a typo here. Concat. Even I'm not sure of that spelling. Concat. But anyway, that one is just an it's just a concat. Anyway, I think it should be like that. So, what error are you getting?
Inasema type error ni filled elements must be, is it 2 negative or 3 tuples and got 3.
Did you add the third array? I think we should be able to get an output, the right output. Okay, are you able to share your screen today?
Yeah, I can share.
Good. Just share with us so that we can debug. I think so far you guys have seen that debugging is the best part of programming. I saw some guys like sending me some bugs, but you guys you should align yourself with Google. That is why we get solutions. Okay, you can just share. Let me stop sharing. Okay, let's just have a look at these. We can see your first step is NumPy. You have imported well. Then we have our first array and the second array. next one. I think you should be able to get the right output. Let me see. Let me see this. It's talking of failed elements must be. Okay, can you copy paste this code to another cell? Maybe you had an error before. Just copy paste this code to in another cell, and then you try to rerun. Any other person who is facing, there is someone who is saying use a square bracket in the print. Ronnie Uma, what do you mean by use the square brackets?
Naona ametumia two bracket normal kwa nini kusurround the arrays to be printed, so anafaa kutumia nini, kutumia square brackets.
For printing, you use the parentheses.
Inside the parentheses, and the two arrays should be surrounded with square brackets.
Well, initializing array or when now printing.
When printing, inside the parentheses of the print, the two arrays to be printed should be surrounded by square brackets. That's what I'm saying.
I think this still works, but let me just share my code so that we can see that. Is everybody able to see my screen? Let me stop. Someone to confirm that you guys can see my screen. Are you able to see my screen? Oh yeah, it's presenting now. So Oma, where are you saying that we should put squared bracket? Here at this print.
Not there. The place where you write the array np.concatenate.
Yes.
So the two arrays there.
Oh, you're saying that these we put squared brackets.
Yes.
No. We still use the parentheses, because what you're doing here is just we are just passing a list of parameters in this function, and
Then I think anafaa kuweka space between the two, ana space between the two after the comma.
After the comma.
After array 1, comma, then space, then array 2.
Oh, this one. I think I didn't check that. So can you share your screen again if the problem still persists? Was it Casey? Casey, can you share your screen? I think you have the right code.
Nimekopi bado.
Still it persists.
Yep.
Can you scroll your screen upward? I just want to see the error. Yeah. Let me just read through the error. Up again. Okay, that's better. Field elements must be 2 or 3 doubles. You got 3. So someone is so someone uses ChatGPT to debug. Is that Arvo? Shortcuts. Uh, but I think you should be able to. Okay, can you just comment out the concatenate part? Comment out the concatenate part. These where you are concatenating the two arrays. You comment out that one and maybe try to print each array, and then we see if
Which one?
the array is equals to np dot concatenate. Comment out that line. I want you to put a hash before, or you delete. You could just have put hash before it, uh, and then try to print out array 1. I want to see something.
Sikuelewi.
I'm saying, can you try to print out the first array, array 1? In your print, you should have array, then this variable name. Yeah. I want to see if you are able to print these arrays. I want you to print this array 1. Are we together? Good. Can you run? It is still fails.
Yeah, I think we should continue.
Let's
Nitaangalia
just
baadaye.
let's just continue, and then maybe we can. I will check on that. In the meantime, you can just share that code of yours at in call messages, and then I'll check it. I should give you feedback. Let me share my screen. Any other person with a question? Share that code in the in call messages. So we were at stack. I have just explained stack. And we have seen how we can concatenate two-dimensional arrays, And I think that is it for stack. We have another function that is called it's a helper function that is called the h stack, to stack along the rows. We have an example here, and I think the example is not complete. Yeah, let's just try to use the h stack function. We'll just use the example below here. Where we're using the stack concatenate, we have I think I was running something different here. Where is the program for stack? I think it's just above. Oh yeah, it's just here. So I think we can just comment out these, and let's just pass our h helper function, and then you'll get an error because we are trying to print out these join arrays. So let's just try to print out these. And we can see now we have a similar output as the concatenate. So this h stack method or function will help us just to concatenate strings just along like we just, is it along? Do we use the word along? Yeah. Along, and we usually don't have the axis. We don't have the axis parameter. We're just going to use the h stack. You just pass the arrays in question as we use the concatenate method. So this is just a helper function, and I think everybody should try it out. So the h stack will function like concatenate, but when you use now the stack, you have to pass the axis. You will have to add the axis parameter here. So let me just return can just undo the changes. So that is the function of that helper function. It will just enable you to concatenate arrays along each other. So I think that is all about concatenation, the joining of arrays using the concat and the stack function, and also the helper function. So I think we can just continue. If you are able to join arrays, then you should also be able to maybe sprint. If you can, we have methods to join arrays, then I think we should have also methods to do some sprint, and that is what we're going to be covering right now. And as you can see, we are told that the sprinting is the reverse operation of joining, and joining merges multiple arrays into one, and sprinting now breaks one array into multiple arrays. So we are going to do now the reverse of joining. So how we do that, we have other functions such as array sprint. This function will help us to sprint arrays. So we just need to we pass it the array we want to sprint and the number of sprint. Those are just the parameters that we are going to pass. I think we can just have an example here. Let me just use this one. But I think it's the same example that I have here down. Yeah, I think we can try and use this one, but now it will be a different operation here. So we are doing a splitting. And let me just add the array sprint function, underscore sprint function. So again, we'll just repeat the process of importing NumPy, and then we have our, this time we just need one array. Let's just copy these values here. And we just delete that to make it one array. This is how we just comment out a line instead of deleting it. So let me just repeat that. So instead of deleting a certain line of code, you just press the control and then the is it called the what, the forward slash. When you click those keys, you should be able to comment out a certain line, or just put a hash before that line instead of deleting it. Like in our case, I'll just have to comment out this line. Yeah, I think now, and then we just change this to array sprint underscore sprint. And then what we pass here is just the number of times we want to sprint this array. So again, these are what I call parameters. We are just passing the array that we want to sprint, and then the number of times that we want to sprint that array. And then we can just have a printout, and then we pass the the array here. I think we can just run these and see the output. So we have sprinted these. We have two arrays now instead of one. Any question? Any question up to that point? Any question? I think these functions, they are just simple to implement. Only that you need to know the what parameters you should pass. You should pass. So I think that is that about sprinting into sprinting arrays. I think we can just jump into splitting out to the arrays here. We still use the same method. The sprint, the array sprint method, and then we can just have this time I want us to have an array with multiple with more than one dimension array, and this is the example that we're going to use. Let me just copy this one here. You can just comment about these. Let's just have a comment here to say what we are doing. So this is splitting to the array. So again, we have our we have to follow this procedure. You start by import, have your array that you want to sprint. With this, I can see we have a two-dimensional array with how many arrows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have about 6 arrows. And we want like to split that array into 3. So and then we assign that value to new array here variable, and then we just print that value here. We can just run these and let us see what we have. We have the first array. It is up to this point, and then we have our second array up to this point, and then we have our third array up to this point. I think that is that. Any question up to that point? These functions, they are quite easy to implement. In fact, this is just a repetition of what we had with one dimension array. Any question? Any question? Or maybe someone who needs something to be clarified. I think that is that about sprint of two-dimensional array. If no question. And then again we have also a helper sprint function, and we use the h sprint method to sprint the 2D array into three 2D arrays rows. I think that is similar to what we had. We can just run this code just to see the output, but nothing is new about this function. We can just run through this, then you just see those arrays. Again, we have created 3 arrays, but now we have instead of, I think the first one we had, the first one we had those the elements of the elements of these the divided arrays. They were in 2 rows, but this time around we have they are arranged in 1 column. We have just 1 column to. I think that is the difference. I think is same as the H stack, as we saw that arrays, the concatenated arrays are just arranged along each other. So nothing is new here about the H sprint. That is all about the H sprint. And I think we can just move forward. I think you will have to look at stacking along columns and stacking along height depth, because most of these things are just repetition, so that we can at least introduce to ourselves to a new concept here of NumPy sorting. You guys will have to check the stacking along the height and stacking along columns. I'll update the notes I had given you, and they will have those parts. So let's get to a new thing that is called sorting. I think everybody is familiar with what is sorting. Sorting means putting elements in an order, and also we in NumPy we do put elements in order. Ordered sequence is any sequence that has an order corresponding to elements, like numerics. We have alphabets. We have maybe an ascending order, or maybe a descending order. So when we come to array, we can just sort an array. Let's say we are given an array of maybe numbers that are not in order, like this one. We have 3, 2, 0, 1. But we can sort this array in using the sort function. We have another function that is called sort, that will just help us sort these numbers in ascending order. So we can just have an import of these. And don't forget that these are just some of the functions that NumPy has. So I will continue giving you some resources on NumPy so that you can read more functions. So these are just a part of what we have. There are so many functions. Let's see. This one is sorting. Again, we have to import our NumPy library, and then we define our array. That is this one is not sorted. Let's see what we have when we sort. You guys, you can see the power of this sorting function. We just call this NumPy of ours library, and we tell it we need this sort function. And then we just pass the array that you want to sort, and then you can see the results after sorting. You can even pass many numbers here. You can just maybe add like 5 of them. You can just have let's just repeat 2, and then we see how it will sort that. And we can just have, yeah, I think those are just enough. Let's try to run it again, and then we see how it will sort this. Yeah, you can see the array is sorted in ascending order from 0 to 9. So that is the another function. And that is how we do implement it. Any question about sorting? I think that is clear and easy as well. We can also sort through two-dimensional arrays. And when you use sort in those two-dimensional arrays, both arrays will be sort. I think we can just have this simple example here. Let's see if both arrays will be sort. Again, this is always the process. You start by importing. You define your arrays, then you just use you call your NumPy, then you just use the dot operator to invoke that function, and then we just run through this. And I think everybody can see that both arrays are sort. We have a 2, 3, 4, and we have a 0, 1, 5. Any person with a question up to that point? Let me just choose a random person. Emily, can you hear me, Emily? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you able to follow?
Yes, but I wasn't able to practice them. I'm a class behind. I'm still on pandas.
You're still on pandas.
Yes.
But this is a different. It's a different library. It's a library on its own. So you shouldn't float. But I think with time you'll just pass through the last lectures.
Yes.
Yeah, but that is that. Any other person with a question about sorting or any other function? Ronnie, do you have a question?
No, I'm cool.
Oh, you're good. Let me see the chat GPT guy. Alvo. Alvo,
Yes.
do you have a question? Do you have a question?
No, mimi niko sawa. I've already learned about Python before, so sasa ni kama refresher course.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
I think that's cool.
but mostly
Yeah.
naweza advise mtu yake kama VS Code utumie Copilot kwa parts zenye zinakusumbua.
Yeah. I think I'll send a link to download that VS Code, and you get familiarized with you familiarize with it, and also it is easier. It does you can use it to program a number of languages, programming languages. So uh, I think I'll send a link for you guys to download the VS Code, and also I'll send a guide on how to do the installation, so that you guys are not left behind. So Muchiti, are you able to follow? Muchiti? Muchiti, are you able to follow? Do you have a question? I think Muchiti can't hear me. You can just write any question on the in-call messages, if at all you have any. I'll keep checking there. So that is how we use the sort function to sort any array. I think that there is nothing much with sorting. And then maybe we can also check at filtering. Let's see how we do filter arrays. So filtering is getting some element out of an existing array and creating a new array out of them. That is what we call filtering. So we like remove maybe a certain number of elements that we don't need in a certain array. Maybe you don't need to, for example, maybe you have an array with with mixed values. So maybe you don't want values with maybe decimal numbers, or maybe you want a values from maybe 0 to a certain number, and then you filter the rest. So this is the right function to use, the one that we are about to introduce to ourselves. So in NumPy, we are told that you filter an array using a Boolean index list, and I think you guys we learned about Boolean, and Boolean index list is a list of booleans corresponding to indices in the array, and if the value at an index is true, that element is contained in the filtered array. I think we should just have an example. Let's just have an example here. I think this is just a perfect example. So let's just copy this here. So the process again starts. With importing numpy, and then we have our array. So in this case, we want us to filter. Where we have true, we will print that element, and where we have false, we will not print that element. So that is what I want us to do with these two lines of code here. And then we will assign that result to our new array. So initially we have four values, four elements in this array, and that is 41, 42, 43, and 44. So again we have another array here that we assign it x. So what we are told is that now when we want to filter, we are told that the position that have a false, the element that is at the position that we have false, it will not be printed out. But the element that aligns itself with the position that has or an index that have a true value, it will print. So in our case, we should have 41, 41, and 43 printed. We will just leave behind that is 42 and 44. So we can just print out that to see that how we do the filtering. I think it's just interesting here. You array. So what we are doing here, we are taking our array, and we want to check through our array the indexes that have a true, we will print them, and those that have a false, we won't print them. So we can just run through this code, and I think we can everybody is able to see that the position that we have a true value, a true boolean, I mean, we are able to print out that element, and where we have false, that is not printed. We can just change this one to true, and then we'll see what happens. I think everyone now can see that we have 42 printed now. I think that is all about sort, and yeah, that is that with filtering. I want us to have another example that is a bit complex. I had prepared an example that is a bit complex here. So let's just go through this. I have an example. There was an example that I had created here, and the example is just here. So let's just copy this example. Yeah, then I take you through it. So let me just copy this. Let's just copy that. So our first line is always to import numpy. Let's just import numpy as np. Let's just comment out these. So what we have here is just an array, and then we'll just initialize a filter array that we will give it it will have 0 elements. It will be empty. So what I want us to do is I want us to go through this array, and then maybe we can add we can put a certain we can put we will just have an expression here that will help us to filter through this array, and then if the element is higher than 42, we will set that value to true, so meaning that it will be added in this empty array. Otherwise it will be false, and it will not be added, it will not be appended in this empty array. So how we do that is we need to use the loop. We need a for loop to loop through all the elements in these, and I think for it to be interesting, let's just add more elements. I think it will be more interesting if we had some more values. So I want us, first of all, is looping through. I think you guys can remember the syntax. So, and how we do that is that for element in this array, and in this case element is just a variable. We're just saying that for any element in this array, we want to check if that element is greater than 42. So after checking, it's 42. So what do? If it returns true, then we will have to append that value to the filtered as our filtered array. These empty list here. So how we go about that is, after now we will come like this is how the code will run. As we look through this, the first element here. So we are checking if the first element is greater than 42. and 41 is not greater than 42. So meaning that we will not be able to append that to our filter array, and so it will go now to the else part, meaning that it will not be appended because it's a false. And then we'll just go again to our second element. Is 42 greater than 42? Again, it's a no. We will return a false, so we won't append. Then we go to our third elements here. So is 42 greater than 42? Again, so if it is greater, the appending will be true, and it will be added to our filter array. So it will continue. The for loop will continue until the n minus 1. Let me just comment on that. Until n minus 1. It will keep looping through this array until the last part there. Then we will have to print our filter array. So there is a line that I didn't explain here. There is this new array now. You're just going to assign it to our new array. Here will be all those elements that have been appended here, and then we will just print out our new array. I think we can just comment on this, just a repetition. You can just delete it. Let's just let's have these two prints, and then we see what happens. We have a false for the first element. We have a false for the second element, as I had said. So the first element will be false. The second up to the last element. So you will see that 43 is at the third position, and it's greater than 42. You can change this and maybe put now for those elements that are is less than 42, to see the number of elements that will be in our array, and we will just have 41 and 12. So the rest are just false. We have a one true, that is 12. Yeah, that is all about filtering through an array. So any person with a question? This is how it works. I think it should be like that. So you just keep practicing the loops, the if and else statements. I think now you guys, you can see how we utilize them in programs. And no one will tell you use a for loop in maybe something that we want, maybe to a problem that you want to solve using a program. So that is that. I don't think if there is a person with a question regarding this example. or maybe a question about filtering. Any person with a question so far? I think so far there is no question. Eric, are you able to follow?
Yes.
Good. Zahra? Zahra, can you hear me? Yeah, Zahra is also able to follow. Nathan, I think Nathan is so quiet nowadays. Nathan, are you able to follow?
Yes.
Okay. Good. That was a good example, by the way, on how to implement filtering. But then you will find so many problems that you need this filtering thing, not only in data analysis, but in other programs that you will have to write. I think that marks our end of NumPy. That is how we sort through, like, we work with NumPy. So if there is no question, I can just introduce ourselves to another new library for visualization. It's called Matplotlib. It's a utility that is used for visualization. But by visualization, I mean drawing some graphs using code. I think you guys you were able to draw some graphs using Excel, right? Yes, Kasora is saying yes. Alvo also is saying yes. So through these Matplotlib, I think we'll have to draw some graphs using code. I think that should be interesting. Yeah, seeing code in action to draw some graphs. So let's jump into it. If you guys don't have any question on NumPy. So Matplotlib is a low-level graph plotting library in Python. We are told that it serves as a visualization utility. So this library is written in Python, and also some parts are written in C. I think you guys so far have maybe heard of C programming language, and maybe any person who have maybe interacted with C programming, or maybe have heard of it.
Yes.
Albo has. Okay. You can just mute. Good. Any other person? we have another low-level language for programming. We have C. We have also other languages such as C Sharp and many others, including Java. So these Matplotlib are written by Python. We have also parts written by C. Yeah, so but I think that is not relevant. So, but it is good to know also. Matplotlib is an open source, and we can use it freely. So, when you hear of an open source software, it means that you can just use that either software without maybe licenses. You don't have to subscribe to a certain software. So those are some of the that is the term we use for free softwares. It's an open source. You shouldn't be worried when you hear of open source. So again, we'll just begin by installation of the library, as we did with pandas and numpy. And I think by now everybody knows about pip. Emily, is Emily in? I think Emily today had a problem with pip, but I think you were able to solve that. This is the we use pip to install libraries, and we use the pip. It's called the pip install. I think I can just illustrate that. Let me just open my terminal here. I think I should be able to illustrate that, how we do the installation. Good. I think it's open. So we just do a pip installation of it's called the Matplotlib. Then you just hit enter. Then let's see how it goes. You can see that my machine is telling me that requirements already satisfied because I have it in my machine. But in case you didn't have it, then it would have just installed without telling you that the requirements are just um, without telling you that it is installed. We can just close that. That is the command that will just pass in your command prompt. Command prompt for those who are using Windows, and for those who are using Linux, you can just, it's called terminal. So having said that, we can also check. There is a command that we use to check its version, and so you're told that checking the Matplotlib version. The version string is stored at this attribute, and yeah, this is how you just check it version. let me just use my terminal here again to check it version. Um, Matplotlib. Let me try to use this. As we wait for the, I'm told that okay, I'll get back to that, but we can just be continuing with the Matplotlib pyplot. So we have the Matplotlib has a utility called pyplot, and this pyplot is the one that we use to draw graphs, including the pie charts. We have line graphs, any kind of graph. Yes, scatter plots. I think you were able to go through those with Excel. So this is the utility that we are going to be using, and we are told that most of the Matplotlib utilities lies under the pyplot sub module, and are usually imported at the PLT alias. I think you also remember about the NP and the PD alias. So for the case of Matplotlib, we use the PLT. So again, we start by importing. We import matplotlib dot pyplot as a PLT, so that you're able to utilize it. So I can just illustrate that using our a good example here. Let's just have a simple plot here.
I have a question.
Yeah, you can just go on.
Okay, should I import the Matplotlib the same way we did with the pandas?
Yes, that is what I want to illustrate here just right now. I want to illustrate it here. Good. Yeah, this is how we do it. It's similar as we do with pandas and we did with pandas and numpy, but this time round we have some module of Matplotlib that is called pyplot. That is what we are going to be using so much. So how we import it is by, first of all, we just import the Matplotlib, then the dot operator to invoke the pyplot some module. Then we just have a variable here that is called the PLT. This is how we just import it. This is not something maybe to cram. You can always copy it whenever you want it. But when you use it more times, you'll get used to it. And then we'll so that we can now create arrays. I think now you can see the case where we use numpy as numpy. We import numpy as np. We need some arrays so that we are able to plot, and we'll just have our x points and our y points. And then we'll just use the PLT now to plot. We have a function in this Matplotlib called plot. This plot, we will just pass the values that we want to plot. We want to plot the x-axis against y-axis. I mean y points against y points. So this is what we're going to pass here, and then so that now we can see what we have just plotted. In fact, if I just run through this code, we will just see nothing because we have not shown. You have not. I think there is a code that is running here. I've uncommitted something. It shouldn't show at first. Let me just comment on this. I think you guys can just see our line graph here. And you can see that for the first point it is at 0, 0. I think you guys know better about graphs. And it starts at 0, 0, and it ends at 250, at 6,250. So that is that about. This is just a simple plot. So we just use these two functions here, the show and the plot. The graphs will just continue to be complex as we go by. So this is just a simple illustration of this graph. This is just a line graph. We will put some labels. I think you guys know what is missing in this line graph. We have labeling the axis. So we will see how we do that with this library here. Yeah, let's just continue. Let's just continue. That was just a simple example, and maybe we can have another example here so that yeah, the x-axis is the horizontal axis. I think everybody knows that, and the y-axis is the vertical axis. Let's go to the Matplotlib markers. You can use the keyword argument marker to emphasize each point with a specified marker. I think you can just have an example for that. At this point, we will just have mark each point with a circle. So let's just see this. it's a good example. So let's just have this example here. So at first we have the y points, and we always start with the importation of these libraries. Now you can see at first we were just importing one, but this time we have the numpy, and we have the matplotlib.py. So again, you can just have that the y point is equals to np dot our array, and then we want us just to every point we wanted to mark it with a dot. Is this a dot or a zero? And then we can just show that. Let's just run this code, and this is what we have. So at each point we have at each point of this graph, we have you can even put a different marker here, maybe an X, and I think that is visible to everyone. Are you guys able to see this? We have an X here, we have another one here. So these are just the y points. So you can see the first X should be at 3, and then we have another point at 8 here, and then we have another point at 1 here, and then we have another point at 10, and then we just join now we just join those dots with a line. That is exactly this. Yeah, any questions so far?
Just repeat once more.
Oh, okay.
On how to plot.
On how to plot. Good.
Yeah.
Any other question? Let me just have a repeat on that. So the first thing and the first step that we do anytime you want to do a plot is we import the matplotlib, and how we do that is import matplotlib.pyplot as a plt. The second library that we need now is the numpy, because we need an array of items that we want to use to plot. So we have our y points is equals to np.array, and then we have our values, and we are calling these y points. Then we use now the plot function. The plot function can take a number of parameters, but first we pass our y points.
So the PLT is just constant.
What?
The PLT.
Yes, we are using that. We are using that PLT. The PLT is a variable. It's kind of it's a variable, as we are using the NP for numpy. So yeah, we always use this variable here. So we'll just have to use it all through, or maybe you can give it a name that you feel like. But for most of people use this PLT. That is what is documented. But even if I change this name to maybe PL, it's just a variable. I'll still get the same values. You have the PL here. And I should also be able to plot without an issue. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It should be, but let's just use the PLT. It should be like that. So anytime you want to maybe to do a change in your graph, you must invoke this this plot by plot, because it is the one that is having all these functions, the plot, the show functions. I think that is that. And any other question? I think I'm clear on that. I was on parameters, where now that I need to pass another parameter like a marker, where a marker is equals to x. I can even maybe have a 0 there as my marker. You see. Let me just run through that. It's taking much longer. Let's see. What happened? Let me just see this. So meaning it doesn't take. Does it mean it doesn't take? It just take. It doesn't take numerical values. I had passed a 0, but this is just a marker. You can just even pass a y, and let's just see this. Why are you facing this issue here? Let me rerun this code. I don't know why it is choosing markers. I think that one is working. I don't know. I don't know the reason behind choosing markers. But that is it with markers. You can pass I have seen that you can just pass a no, or maybe a dot, maybe. Yeah, and then you show you plt dot show function there. I think we can cover the last concept, and then maybe we can continue from there tomorrow. Yeah, let's have a line graph. The Matplotlib line, and you can use the keyword argument line style, or it has a shorthand for that is ls, to change the style of the plotted line. You can use a dotted line. Let's see this. I said the function plot can take a lot of arguments. So you have seen in the first place we had passed a marker. Now we are going to use a line style, and we will keep seeing a lot of functions, a lot of like parameters that we can pass in that plot. So let's just uncomment out these. Again, the first step is importing the PLT, and then NumPy. Maybe for you to be just to be aware, you, as you like write complex programs, you will have a lot of importation. So you can even have more than 50 imports. So you shouldn't be worried. That is all about Python import. We are just importing a lot of libraries so that you are able to code. So as we go on, we will see we are importing a lot of libraries here. Again, we can have our y points as an array here, and then we now use the PLT again to invoke this plot function, and then we pass the first argument, or maybe what I call parameter, and then this time I want to pass a line style. In this line style, I need it to be dotted. You can just check from the documentary. I'll set some resources on Matplotlib again, so that you can see the number of the line styles that we have. But for this lesson, we'll just cover about the dotted, and then we plt dot show. Let's see what we have. I think you guys can see we have now a dotted line here. You see? Yeah. There is a question from Hubert Moracha.
Yes.
Yes, Hubert.
So can we use the x and y instead of y points only?
Yes. It's only that I'm using just one axis.
Okay.
And it assumes that the other pointer, it just connects the y point. So you're not restricted not to use the x-axis also. I think we can continue. We will see an example with both the y point and the x point, because at the end we will just have a line, only that the x-axis will be like initialized maybe to a certain array on x points. I think that is that for the line style. Any other question? Any other question? I think for today's we can just leave it there, because I think today we have learned two different things. You are continuing on NumPy, and we introduced ourselves to a different concept called Matplotlib. So I think from tomorrow we will see how we can add some labels and titles. We see how you can You can draw multiple lines. I think someone is having a question. Someone is saying that it is getting interesting. Yeah, it will keep getting interesting and interesting as we go on. Um, yeah, I think we can just call it a day. So any person with a question, the floor is now open for questions, or maybe someone who needs a clarification. So Casey, how is programming so far?
Isn't bad. It's good. Yeah.
Okay. Any other person with a comment about maybe programming, about Eric is saying is cool. Yeah, we will keep learning in how we do solve problems with programming. Yeah, I think programming is for those guys who always want to do like want to solve problems. Yeah, you should have a problem solving mind. So we can just call it a day. You guys, we have no other question. I think we can just meet tomorrow. I'll share uh, the notes. So see you tomorrow. You guys have a good night.